Hey hockey players, today I want to talk about hockey-specific speed training. More specifically, the speed hacks that you can start incorporating into your traditional speed training program design today to start becoming a faster hockey player. Now, everybody should already be taking the traditional approach that I've talked about in many articles, blogs, videos, and even full manuals on how you can utilize weight training and power training and plyometrics and sprints and jumps and all these different methods that are already very entrenched within the scientific literature to improve functional outputs in athletes and improve speed out on the ice. But today, I want to talk about 4 things that are relatively unknown, a little bit more underground, if you will, as far as it goes in improving speed, but still in a very well-documented way in terms of the scientific literature of sports science theory. And these are the speed hacks. We're going to be talking about overspeed, underspeed, breathwork, and EMS. Each one of these improves speed through a different mechanism. That's one thing that makes these hacks complementary to one another and definitely complementary to your current traditional speed training program design. Because if you want to increase speed, or you want to increase strength, or you want to increase hypertrophy, it really doesn't matter what method or ultimate adaptation you want out of your training program design. You need to get different stimulus out of it. You can't only train hypertrophy, which is muscle size, in one way all the time, or else the body gets adapted to that specific stimulus and you start not getting as good of a result anymore. A lot of people's results start to taper off after about 6 to 8 weeks on a training program, and that's because the body is a very adaptive machine. It can get used to a type of training. So when you want more speed and you want less of what you're already doing, because a lot of times we run into plateaus because we keep training in the same way nonstop. We need to introduce new stimulus to our training program design to get a faster result. First is overspeed. Overspeed actually is a nervous system training tool that hockey players can use to train their nervous system to recruit more muscle fibers faster than they already would have. I want you to kind of think about the road runner right now, how his legs going nonstop like that. That's how overspeed works. We move faster than we otherwise would have, which trains our body to recruit muscle fibers faster than it otherwise would have, which is huge for explosive speed out on the ice. So how do you train overspeed? Well, you introduce it to an environment that forces you to move fast. One of the best ways to train overspeed is to actually find about a 5% downhill place where you can run. So not very steep, but about a 5% decline, so you can start running downhill and your legs are forced to turn over at a faster rate, which forces your nervous system to decelerate and accelerate faster than it would on flat ground or the flat ice. That's an excellent way to do it. Another way to do it is on a stationary bike where you pedal as fast as you can with no resistance. We've all felt that before, where the pedals can start kind of getting ahead of us. That is overspeed training, because the nervous system doesn't know how to move that fast yet, until you start training it, and then you can start taking that out with you on the ice. Another thing that I'll use with my athletes is I'll have a long band. And I will have the athlete, I'll put the band around the athlete's waist and they will walk backwards to the start line on one of our sprint training drills. And then when it's time to go, they are assisted with the band and therefore are training overspeed right in their sprint workout. And that's something you could add to the sprint workouts we already have available at hockeytraining.com. So overspeed is excellent, but it's something that taxes the body quite a bit because your nervous system gets fatigued a lot because we're training it directly. So even an advanced athlete should only train this once per week. Beyond this, it's a little bit tough on the joints and tendons. Anybody who's run downhill already knows this. So even the most advanced athlete should only ever do this once per week and start very gradually and very slowly. One of the best ways to start is just simply with the bike and then the banded sprint and then move on to the downhill running. These are ways you would progress overspeed to become a faster hockey player. Next one is underspeed. So predictably, if overspeed is moving too fast, underspeed is going to be a way in which we can move a little bit slower, but still train hockey speed. This means running upstairs, or running up the hill, or even having a weighted vest on when you're on a step mill. These are all ways in which we can train under speed. Now, overspeed trains the nervous system to activate faster muscle fibers, whereas underspeed is more of a strength perspective when it comes to speed training, because you're able to train strength with speed-specific moves, like running and like going uphill. These are ways in which we can add resistance to the body during the most functional and most sport-specific thing that we can possibly be doing. So where overspeed trains the nervous system to be faster, underspeed trains the muscles to be much faster in a different way than if you're on flat ground or on the ice, and also trains you to be stronger while you're moving at top speeds. Those are two different things. A lot of people know somebody who's fast, but will get knocked off the puck. This is something that can help prevent that from happening. And underspeed, since it's a lot more muscular as opposed to nervous system based, this is something that you can do 2, even 3 times per week. And I have workouts already at hockeytraining.com on how to start incorporating hill sprints into your program today. There's a reason I've used that a lot, and there's a reason that's in the off-season training program. Next, we have EMS, or what's known as electromyostimulation. So this is something that's really brand new, and a lot of people are very unfamiliar with it, which is why I'm calling it the speed hack. And the electromyostimulation, or an EMS machine, is a type of machine where you essentially have 2 cords and they have pads attached to them. And you will attach the pads to the bottom of a muscle and the top of a muscle. And what this electromyostimulation can do is stimulate the muscle to contract. But the beauty of this is that it stimulates the muscle to contract, but doesn't affect nervous system. So since it's like an invader, right? The first time you'll ever put one on, it's kind of like an alien took over your body because you're contracting even though you're not telling your muscle to contract. Well, lucky for us, muscle's dumb. It doesn't know if we're doing it or if we're not doing it. It just knows contraction. So it's going to adapt to that stimulus even if we didn't do it. So when we can contract our muscle without using our nervous system to do it, then we can contract a muscle, gain a new muscular adaptation such as strength, power, or even enhanced recovery, but we don't fatigue the nervous system at the same time. So recovery isn't even affected, and yet you can still train muscle fibers for the purpose of speed, power, and even conditioning, because there's different frequencies you can set these things at. And the frequency, whether you go high or low, can train either type 1, type 2, or type 2B muscle fibers. So we can get a wide range of effect using something like this. Another added benefit of an EMS machine is the fact that you're contracting a muscle tissue and the muscle fibers that you want to contract to get faster, but since you're sitting down, there's no wear and tear in your joints or ligaments either. So it's something you can add to your regime if you're injury prone, or it's something you can add to your regime if you are injured, or it's something that you can add to your routine no matter what, because you're not going to wear and tear the nervous system, you're not going to wear and tear your tendons, ligaments, and joints, which is something a lot of hockey players have issues with. So EMS definitely ranks 100% as a speed hack. And anybody who thinks that that sounds a little quirky, because we've all seen the infomercials on TV where get a 6-pack and do nothing, because if you attach these to your abs, they'll contract and you'll get a 6-pack without ever working out. That is actually this machine, but that is just a terrible example of the application of this machine. And there is already a mountain of evidence behind electromyostimulation. Scientific evidence is there, or else it would not be in this video today. Trust me. So EMS is a viable tool to look for if you're looking at introducing a new stimulus to your muscles to become a faster hockey player. Last but not least is breathwork. The science of breathwork is one that is emerging, and it is currently in its infancy, but we know there's a lot of benefit to it. There are a lot of deep breathing routines. There's a lot of deep breathing in mobility work. There's a lot of deep breathing in things like Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga, and there's all these benefits come from your ability to control your breathing and use your breathing appropriately in order to get in better shape, be a healthier person. Across the board, breathwork can be very beneficial for hockey players. Now, this is a huge category and perhaps the subject of a video all by itself in the future, because there's restricted breathing, there is resisted breathing, and then there's that type of hypoxic breathing where you'd go to a top of a mountain and train, or you would sleep in a hypoxic chamber overnight. All these different strategies can be used at the right time. You see people with those restricted masks on, it looks like they've got scuba gear, or that they're Bane from Batman while they're training in the gym. All these are very different strategies, but what I think is most applicable for everybody watching this video, because not everybody has the money to go to a top of a mountain or move to Denver or buy a Bane mask, what you can do is actually restricted breathing. Now, restricted breathing truly means breath restriction. So you do not have access to oxygen while you are performing a bout of physical exertion. One of the best ways to do this is simply in the pool. So if you're doing a pool conditioning session, which I think is already great because it's so easy on your joints, tendons, and ligaments, yet you can still train the energy systems for hockey athletes. If you're doing a pool conditioning session or speed session, then breathe every 7 strokes, or as opposed to every 2 strokes. Or breathe every 5 to 7 strokes as opposed to every 2 strokes. This breath restriction has been demonstrated within the literature to improve your ability to transfer oxygen throughout the body. It actually strengthens your respiratory muscles in your lungs that pump oxygen out to working muscle tissues. It improves immune system function, and it also increases red blood cell count within the body. And that is huge for you because it's actually the red blood cells that carry oxygen to our working muscles and get carbon dioxide out of those muscles so that fatigue doesn't accumulate and we ultimately fail, be slower, or get tired in the third period. So restriction can really help in this area, and it is as simple as not breathing for 5 to 7 strokes in a pool. Or if you're going to finish a conditioning session, for example, you could finish with a there and back in the pool, where you go there and back without bringing your head up once, or go as far as you can, and then over time try and build the lung capacity and the oxygen capacity and the red blood cell capacity that's going to allow you to go there and back, because that is something that is going to transfer out in the ice. Because when you have more oxygen to working muscle tissues and you're able to work in an environment with suboptimal levels of oxygen, you're going to be a fast hockey player. All right, I know that was a lot of information, but these are the 4 speed hacks I want you guys to know so that you can start incorporating these into your routine. Overspeed, nervous system; underspeed, muscular strength; EMS, training muscle tissue without inducing fatigue; and breath work, working on our bodies from the inside out as opposed from the inside in, from the outside in order to increase hockey speed out in the ice. Thank you so much for watching today, and if you want to learn more about these different methods and exactly how to apply them, make sure you click on the link below, because I've got a PDF cheat sheet all ready to rock and roll for you. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you liked this video, and subscribe to the channel so that you're always the first one to know when new videos come out.